Immigrants in the diaspora are constantly making a positive impact in the communities that they serve. On today's episode, I have with me Mr. Paul Akinjo, and I'm in the city of Latrobe.
My name is Paul Akinjo, City Council member from Latrobe. I'm here with Orishua Daniel Etuewe on who and what next.
Hey folks, on today's episode, as earlier said, I'm with Mr. Paul Akinjo, one of the city members in Latrobe. Thank you very much, sir, for granting us this interview.
Thank you.
Please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Paul Akinjo, and originally from Ondo State, Nigeria. I migrated here in the year 1982 to the United States. Originally, I started from Oakland, and here we are in the Central Valley, 20 years later.
When did you commence your career as a politician in the U.S.?
Actually, it depends on what you mean by career as a politician. I was involved when I was in Oakland. I was involved in the housing project. Actually, when I came, I didn't have nowhere to stay. So I went to the Catholic Charities, and that is how I got started. And I saw what that organizations did in Oakland. It was called generally West Oakland.
Okay.
So I was able to get housing, but the way it was done was that you have to participate in the housing project to help others, like what they have now. They're still doing it now. So when it comes to your turn, and they look at your family size, and that is how you get housing in those days. But it involves a lot of, head knocking and begging and asking, because we have to pay. We have to pay the laborers. We have to pay all that situation that comes, because the housings are not cheap at that time either. But that was how I got started.
Okay. So being a minority and an immigrant, what were your challenges coming into politics?
Well, you don't want to make it a unique challenges to you as an individual. Immigrants face a lot of challenges. How do you get a job? Like I said, we spoke already about the housing. How do you raise your family? Which community do you want to raise your family? And at what level do you decide what to do? It was a miscommunication that you are imagining that you can come. People say, well, go to America and you can do whatever you want and come back in 5 years. After 5 years, when you start to get used to the system, that is when most people actually start to make a decision on maybe I need to go back to school. Because of the situation that they find themselves in. Because life could be very tough for immigrants here. So after you decide which school to go to or what kind of job do you want and stuff like that, then you still continue to see now it's time to raise a family. Do you want to get married here or you want to go back home and get married? So all these decisions comes to affect immigration status and stuff like that, and that is the way it has always been with immigrants in this country. So 5 years is really very, very. It comes and it goes very fast for you to get used to the intricacy of this country.
Okay. So as an immigrant, what were your challenges contesting as a politician?
Yes, as an immigrant, first of all, you have this fear. The fear that you might not be accepted. It's always there as an immigrant. Either the fear of language or the fear of how you speak, or the fear of how you present yourself. But I found out that if you really, really have good ideas and you are looking for avenues to make that ideas known, there's no better place than to align yourself to a political system where your voice can be heard. It is very hard to do it alone, but when you align, either you want to be a Democrat, you want to be an independent, you want to be a Republican, or you want to be known, whatever you choose, but there's a need to have strength in numbers, they call it. So as an immigrant, I have been able to align myself with the Democratic Party, and that has brought me this far.
Oh. So, how have you been able to keep your head up in terms of credibility?
Well, part of the stigma that an immigrant has, and which is not a secret, you have come to take something from us. And even if you're able to overcome that mentality that you have not come to take anything from anybody, that you're actually here to contribute as an immigrant, you still have other situations, either behavioral situation from home, mental health situation, or basically rumors about where these people, your race is not capable, your race is this, and you just don't want those things to get you down. But character is one of the things that you want to focus on. Make sure that the character, that the position you are looking calls for. As a public official, there are some guidelines, things you can do, things you cannot do. And once you're able to follow those guidelines, and the polishing of languages and all those things will fall in place in due time. So keeping your head above the water, of course, nobody wants to have a criminal, being their council member or their mayor or their vice mayor or any of those things. So as an immigrant, you need to make sure that you abide by the law as best as you could.
There are times where I've had to prove myself at my place of work while working there to let them know I'm capable of handling certain tasks. So can you tell us or tell the audience if in any way you've been looked down in terms of the office you run now or the office you hold now? Have you in any situation or in any way been looked down considering your performance as a city council member?
Yes, of course. And some of them are innocently done, because we have this notion here that even I find myself speaking that language sometimes. I remember what I introduced this place, that this is a public house and stuff like that. And we have come to look at public officials for one reason or the other, that they are either thieves, greedy, or not even what the opposition that they are holding. Then for an immigrant like me, or that speaks with a heavy accent, then you have double whammy. One, your group as a whole is not well liked as a politician, and then there's another one there that guy that speaks funny and stuff like that, then that becomes even more of a determinant sometimes into how people look at you. Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while to be able to rise above that situation, because nobody really wants to listen to you, or you perceive that nobody hears you. Then somebody had called me and advised me, you just speak slowly. Speak slowly. You don't have to lose your culture because you are serving in the United States. Let your upbringing, once again back to character, be your guide. Say those people that you think maybe they just couldn't understand you, so reduce your high notes and maybe bring it down a little bit, tone it down, and you see the reaction of the people. and it has been a good advice.
Okay.
It has been a good advice.
You seem to be unstoppable in your race, heading up there in politics. The last time you ran as a state assemblyman, can you tell us a little bit about that? You trying to forge your way ahead from where you are right now?
Yes, because being a council member, I think we are going to the 10th, this is the 9th year of being in the local government, and I see some of the projects that I have participated in. I have seen the city of Latrobe grow, and we are still growing. So the experience is there. And then when it comes to really moving on, it is okay to sit in one place and get comfortable, but there's nothing that is more challenging than the ability to move ahead. It's a determination type of thing. You just predetermine that why not me? How come I cannot become a state assemblyman? You thought about it and you say, well, let's give it a try. And most of these positions, as you will find out later on, they are precursor to bigger things. It doesn't mean you have to win all the time. It is still part of the training that you are going through. In a political system, there's always the winner and there's always the one that did not win. So whichever way is supposed to encourage you to even go further. And that is what you are seeing. My party, the Democratic Party, decided to field me in that position, knowing fully well that we might not win that race due to the area and the district that we are in. But we have to contest in every election. This is another thing that you can't choose and pick sometimes that, oh, that election 2020, I'm not going to because that so and so is also running. The president is running and I'm going to run when, no, you can't do that either. You got to be able to face the challenges, and those are the things you saw during the last election, running for assembly. I still have some time on the city council. I can still stay comfortable that maybe the time is not. So who determines when the time is right? So you need to have that notion that you need to forge ahead and educate yourself. At the same time, give opportunity for others to follow you.
Thank you. How do you manage your position as a city council member and being a father?
Yes, you have asked a very difficult question. There's no a single politician. When I say a single politician, in other words, you can bring it to generically to mean that you have to have your whole family behind you to be successful. To be a good politician or a sound-minded politician, your family has to come first. But unfortunately, as we have in the United States, for instance, it carries a big name. Being a council member carries a big name. But if I tell you it's a volunteer, it's almost a volunteer business. Everybody will say, no, you must be making thousands. No. I have my day job. I work as a technician for Alameda County, and I have to commute. The only time the commute was reduced was due to this COVID thing and stuff like that. So, and you have your family to attend to, you have your day job to attend to, and you have the city job to attend to, and you have the state job to attend to, because we are all broken down into commissions and board members and stuff. So it could be quite a challenge, and it tells on your family, it tells on you financially. So it takes a lot of commitment, in short. If members of the family are not along, even though they try to understand, we are all human beings. How long do you want to be away from the house? How long do you want to travel? How long do you want to take off from your day job? The job that actually pays the bills. You find yourself using your sick time, your valuable vacation time to do city job, to do community service job. Sometimes, yeah, it's not palatable, and I'm not exempted from that. Yeah, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act.
Well, thank you so much for your service, sir. You're a role model to a lot of minorities out there and the immigrants at large in the United States and the immigrants in diaspora. There are so many of them that will be watching you right now. What word of advice do you have to an aspiring immigrant who wants to come to render service, public service, just like you are doing right now? What's your word of advice to them?
Yeah, well, my advice is very, very simple. We've started with this character issue, and so people want, believe it or not, people want to know your makeup. And our makeup as an immigrant is built seriously on a solid cultural foundation. So you don't have to serve the community and lose your foundation or how your upbringing. That is not what I'm eschewing. But there's this old adage too that they have when Romans do like Romans. As an immigrant, you look at the system. That's why I said 5 years is probably too little to get used to the system. If you really want to serve the community, you will have to determine which community do you want to serve. Some community might not even accept you. So I was in West Oakland, where it's majority, the need was there. The need for housing was there, which is still here. It hasn't left us. 20 years, 30 years, we are still dealing with that need. So if you want to really work within the community, look for the needs. How can I contribute to the needs of that community? And that is where you start. But you cannot go it alone. I cannot overemphasize that. Because if pride crawls in and you think you can do things on your own, that's always a process in this country. The founding fathers of this country has laid down a process. And so far, the process has come under several challenges, but it has stood the test of time, at least up till this moment. So why do you want to go outside that? So commit yourself to the community or to the cause for which you want, then you go from there. From that particular community, you expand your horizon. And that is the way to do it.
While you were discussing, sir, talking about your challenges, you made mention of an advice you got from someone that said, you can't let down of your culture. So I'm just going to ask you, in terms of culture, now I know culture is broad, can you still say something in your mother tongue? You know, just want to find out if you still have that there.
Good question. Yeah, you know, the culture crosses, like you said, different platforms. So I'm from Mondo, and in Mondo we have they call us Egin, Motibondo, Dada, Meden So. So Egin Kwaleo, Amaseo, Kufewa. And then the major ones, the Yoruba tribe and stuff like that. Yeah. Mobile Yoruba, dear. Maybe but I can still say a few words like Anshe Wadupe, Modupe Lowo, I want to support you in the election to Koja. You know what they do. Eku nawo, arao, eku adurao, esegamo, layo lapade.
Thank you very much, sir. Hey friends, folks out there, I hope you enjoyed this section with Mr. Paul Akinjo. Thank you very much, sir, for granting us this interview. Thank you.
Thank you, you are welcome. Thank you for having me.
If you're new on my channel, my name is Orishua Daniel Etuewe. Please subscribe. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the likes. See you all